Okay.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Andra, and this is Karen, and this is Kitchen Chats. As always, if you like what you hear here, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. So Karen and I were just talking about that it's Nurses Week, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and Digestive Health. So we as people, we come here all the time because we want to give you information and resources that if you need that help, you can get them from us. So we're talking about the short goals today and the long run. So that's what we decided to talk about because so many times we want things now, and it's okay to want that now and to do those things for that now to get those results now, but you always have to look at the long run and the long game, especially in health. When we're talking about mental illness, when we're talking about digestive health, there is no quick fixes. Everybody thinks that you can pop a pill and go have surgery and that's it. That doesn't
Right.
cure the problem. Because even if you have surgery, it's going to come back the weight, the health problems, all that stuff comes with it. There's no quick solutions. So the short-term goal are really your habits, and your long-term goals are your outcomes from doing those habits every single day. So what are your thoughts on this?
Short-term and long-term goals is something I've worked on. I want to say like all my life. I'm a sprinter, so I would love to just take a pill, like you said, and lose 30 pounds. I would love to just wake up one morning and be like, well, I stopped eating bread. So now I went from 160 to 130. But I realized throughout life that it's just not going to work that way, that habits change daily. And then as they change daily, it becomes like more chronic and it becomes more of your lifestyle instead of something that you're doing, temporarily. So I started journaling my food, like you talked about, my daily foods, and then looking back and seeing why I ate certain things, when I ate it, and kind of pausing also on a daily level to see, okay, do I really want to eat this? Am I really hungry? How is this food going to affect me long term? Am I eating enough vegetables? Am I drinking enough water? Like thinking long term, what I'm doing now, how it may affect my body long term. So I think it's really important to not just look to today, but look at the effects many years down the line. Yeah.
It's so important to look at the long game. When I wanted to lose all that weight, I was thinking about that too, and um it wasn't that I didn't have confidence in myself as a nurse, but when you're looking for weight loss, you want someone that specializes in that. So that's not something as a nurse we help someone with every day. So I wasn't even thinking about the skills that I had at that moment. I just knew that I wanted to lose that weight. And the more I reached out for that help to these places in society, the sicker I got because they have like these massive programs that aren't tailored to the individual, and a lot of them cause metabolic syndrome, which starts that fat storage. And once you're in fat storage, you need to take steps to get out of it. It doesn't just go away. You have to repair the process. So I do that with a lot of my clients by teaching them how to
Mhm.
cycle with food to repair the gut, the liver, the thyroid. So it's specifically targeted at those systems that are down and affected by the metabolic syndrome. And it's not like a long drawn out process, but it does help people get those real results. And it teaches them how to eat anything that they want. It's not about restricting things. It's about using like what you're doing with the journaling and stuff. These are all habits and tools. Like you and I, as nurses, we go to work every day and we have the tools that we need to perform our job. You know,
Mhm.
we have the critical thinking, we have the stethoscope, we have the pen light, we have all those things that we need, the pulse ox, everything. If we need to start an IV, we know how to do that. So those are tools that we put in our box. So there's a lot of information out there. And if you take them and you put them in that box, it's very confusing to a lot of
Right.
people because even though hydration is good and this is good, it sends a mixed message that everybody should be drinking 8 glasses of water, which absolutely is not true. If
Right.
some people
Right.
have um drink, not drink, they eat a lot of water dense fruits and vegetables. So they're getting a lot of fluids through that. Or they have a kidney disease or a heart condition or Meniere's disease, that things like drinking too much water can really impair them further. So we need to be more focused on our words than just telling the population to do that and giving them real solutions, like consult your doctor, or what feels right for you, because your body does know. So it is really about listening to your body and putting those tools in your toolbox. So when you think of meditation, when you think of walking, when you think of yoga, these are all tools and things that can reduce stress. So stress is a big part of mental illness. It's a big part of gut health. So it causes a lot of problems with inflammation and pain in the body, and stubborn weight loss. It makes inflammation actually impedes weight loss on a great deal. I talk about that in one of my books. And what's so important is that if we just manage our stress, and you and I know how important stress management is, but if we took those tools like going out, getting out in the vitamin D, interacting with people that we love and laughing and stuff like that, if we have all these little things in our toolbox, and if we practice using them where they become part of who we are, like you were saying, the lifestyle, then it's easier to pull them out. But if you're only doing it for that short term, like if someone says, drink water, exercise, if you're only doing it for that short term, and then you think you can stop, your results are only going to be short term because it's not part of who you are,
Right. I like what you said about every individual is different, right? And we all made up differently. Our mindsets are different. Sometimes it's formulated from birth, what we've seen growing up. So knowing that when you're looking for a change, whether short term or long term, that it is something that's person centered, it's individualized. So we really shouldn't be, and you're absolutely right. We really shouldn't put out these broad spectrum, what you should do, it's going to change you scenarios. It should really be person centered. Like speak to yourself. Think about yourself and what you are used to doing, and what is the root cause of what you're doing. Sometimes we do things just because we've been doing them for 50 years. It doesn't mean that we need to continue, right? And we haven't seen any direct negative impact from doing it all these years. So we continue. It doesn't mean that long term we won't have those effects. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't start the process of maybe stopping that thing that you're doing that may not impact your health mentally or physically in the long term, right? So I think looking at that root cause and be an individualized, not treatment plan, individualized kind of treatment plan for change is really important. And then exactly what you talk, a lot of times you talk about stress and how it impacts our body. So I'm taking a class this week actually on the etiology of stress, where this doctor is really going to break down how stress affects each organ in your body. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to take this class, because we all know stress causes headaches. If you're stressed out, you start getting headaches. Or if you're stressed out, you may feel tired and you want to sleep. Some people want to eat. We all have different effects of stress. But if we really was to learn how it breaks down our body, I think people will be more apt to stop. Myself, I need to know the why. I always need to know the
why. Not necessarily. So I did a live yesterday, and I was talking about hydration. That's what I did, because it is digestive and how it really affects your gut health and your mental health and all that stuff, and why we tell you to do that. And I said what you just said now. If I know why I'm doing it, I'm going to do it. If somebody just told me to drink water and I don't feel like drinking water, then I'm not drinking water, because I'm a grown adult. I'm a grown ass adult, and don't you tell me I need to drink water. But I talk about this. Yeah. I talk about the etiology of stress in my group all the time. And so stress, just to help you out with this, stress is really enacted by your cortisol levels. So your cortisol is your master hormone. So it controls all the other hormones like a puppet. So stress, injury, toxins in the environment, they get cortisol activated, and cortisol is one of the masters at anti-inflammatory. Okay, so that's one of its jobs. It helps with inflammation. So But when it's constantly being asked to be used, responds, it can no longer be over here working on its real jobs, just like when systems break down. So it's meant to react, to help with the immune response and to repair that tissue damage and stuff that happens during that and respond to stress. And it works with the immunity to relax the system so it's not, it can repair itself. It does reduce the inflammation. So that's kind of what happens with stress. So, but those cortisol levels also impact insulin resistance, which leads to that diabetes and that weight gain and so much more. And it does impact. So because cortisol is your master hormone. So when you're under chronic stress, it causes inflammation. Inflammation impacts the gut health, which causes more inflammation. So it's like a lose-lose situation. So the inflammation causes problem with gut health. And if you have gut health issues, you have problems with inflammation. And then you get the pain and everything else. But what happens is when those hormones, and cortisol tells you you're hungry or you're full. Cortisol is that hormone that makes you crave sugary, salty food. So that's why it does impact your hunger. But it also affects the other hormones, your ghrelin and your leptin that are part of that, satiety. I never say that word right. Satiety.
Right.
or if you're hungry. So that's part of that. But when your hormones are affected, the hormones are just little they're little pathways, and everything you do from the moment you wake up in the morning to the time you go to sleep, it is a hormone response. It's your hormones at work. It's the enteric brain talking to the brain. They pivot back and forth. And if those messages get crossed, then the message to the next hormone is going to be different. Instead of saying jump, it's going to say walk. And then the next hormone is affected and the next hormone is affected. So it does impact your whole body because inflammation does impact your endorphins. So how you react to pain and all that stuff. I don't want to get into this whole science lesson, but it does. Right. It really does impact. So I could have saved your money. You could ask me all these questions.
It's a free class, but I'm going to take the class and then we can come back and
You just got paused. Okay.
Kitchen chat. If I eat certain foods, if I'm not working out, if work is a little bit more stressful, it totally affects my mood. And it's not just one day. The effects can last a week or weeks. So I have to literally tell myself to stop and literally change my routine. So I think that's another fact that we should talk about, how you have to stop yourself. Sometimes you have to talk to yourself and say, okay, enough. And kind of appreciate yourself and appreciate your life and the way that you want to live it, and whatever trigger or that's coming in that you avoid it, or you go the opposite way, avoid go the opposite way, go against it, because you do feel the effects in your body, and paying attention to the way you feel and what you're doing.
Stress does impact your body, and responding to that stress inappropriately will cause those headaches, that depression, all of those things. Because I told you, anything that affects that gut, that's your brain. People think of this as your brain, your gut's your brain. And it really does impact your whole body. So, but you know what it is? I like what you said. It's about stepping back. And Chad Helmstetter, he's an amazing author. I love him. One of the best books he's ever written, and he writes many, is The Things We Say When We Talk to Ourselves. And it's all about that self-talk, the things that we tell ourselves on a day-to-day basis. So we could choose to be positive and say, that we can achieve this, or we could do that, or we could choose to be negative. But out of all the people we talk to, we spend the most conversations with ourselves in our heads.
That's right.
So we need to be more patient and loving and kind with ourselves. And absolutely, I don't know why this thing won't go down this box. We absolutely need to respond better to ourselves and learn effective ways to deal with stress and manage stress. But so the short term is doing what you have to really do in that minute. So something happens and we react and we want to, throw something and why did you do this to me or this? But it's about stepping back and saying, I don't have to react to this. Let me walk away or let me do some
Right,
breathing. And
right.
sometimes what I do is I'll do those deep breaths that I talk to my clients, and sometimes I'll have to do like five. Someone says do one or two. Sometimes I'll have to do five to myself, and people will look at me and I'll look like, okay, but I center myself. It's about stopping, breathing, and centering yourself and feeling grounded in who you are and what you feel and choose to accept.
I
So
love it.
so
Exactly. Absolutely.
yes,
And taking care of you, appreciating you. And if you've had enough for the day, I started this now, like because I work from home. Sometimes I could work more hours than, I need to. But I started saying enough, tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's another day. I did enough today. It's time for me to rest. And it's okay for you to say that to yourself. Okay, it's time for me to rest. A lot of times we wake up in the morning, we have to work, we have to cook, we got to take care of the kids, we got to do this. Take some time and say, listen, I'm going to appreciate me. I'm going to take some rest time. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to go to the gym and walk, even if it's 10 minutes. And then I'm going to come back. And guess what? The work is still going to be there. You'll get it done. You'll definitely get it done. So I think appreciating you, taking time for yourself purposely, intentionally stopping if you are feeling tired, it's great. How about that?
I think you should walk to the gym. That way you get in that 20 minutes. You get in the car to go to the gym. That's too funny. I try to walk as much as I can everywhere. But I can't get in the car and go to the gym because the gym is literally around the corner from my house. So that would be like really just it. I mean, there's no motivation for me to get in the car to go to the gym. I gotta walk. But I have something in my house that does that. But you know what I like to do? Sometimes during the day, things get to us, like work, or even if you don't feel appreciated at your job or you don't feel valued or you feel like you should be doing something more or better. Sometimes I just close my eyes where I am, like I'm in my office, so I could either shut out the light or I could just close my eyes, pull down the shade so people know to leave Andra alone. So, and I just go to a place in my mind that is calming to me, and I think about the feelings like in that thing. So what works really well for me is the beach. I picture myself at the beach and the waves flowing, and then I'm looking down the beach and there's nobody there. It's just me all alone, and how calm that is, and and that I think about the ocean and how plentiful it is, and that it's just like life. There's more. You can grab a cupful, or you can grab a
It's
bucketful, or you
true.
can you can grab whatever you want, Andra, and just take it with you. So,
Yeah.
and
And the
that
way you see things matters, right? Positivity matters, like you said. In every dark place, there is a light. And
yeah,
I like to really impress that upon my staff that I manage, my family. In every dark situation, you got to be able to see your way back to the light because life is still moving, right? And we have different seasons. We may have a season of a challenge or a season of there's nothing going on and everything is just wonderful, right? But we got to keep on moving and always see the brightness or the positivity in something. It could be death. You want to see the positivity in the life that person lived. It's not easy. I'm not saying that something is easy. Changing your mindset and your thought process is not easy. But as you do it over and over again, it will start to, become you, and you will see this. You will see a difference. Gratitude matters. Being grateful for every little thing. The
everything,
job is
everything.
stressful out. Okay, I have a job. I'm going to take a break. I can take a day off. I can come back. I can close my curtain, and come back. It matters. It matters. Having a dark or that glass half full all the time won't benefit you mentally, and it definitely is not going to benefit you physically. So I think you're totally right about that.
And you attract more of that too. You like attract like. So
People.
I do something I call scripting, where
Mhm.
I physically write what it's like to have what I want. So not what I do want, what it's like to have what I want, and how I'm grateful and why I'm grateful for those things, and how it makes me feel, you know, when I have enough money to pay the bills, and I have enough money to pay for a charity and stuff like that. And it gives me, the time I'm done, I usually do it for like 15 to 20 minutes. I just feel my heart so full and so open that it makes it easier for me to go into that day, you know. And
Right.
you know, and sometimes there's some things going on around me down in New York City, and I just sit there in my head and do what I'm grateful for and what's flowing to me and how happy I am. Because if I let that outside view obstruct with what I want and what I see as my environment, then it does impact you, because there's a lot of bad out there too. But we can choose what we see. It's easy to see
Right.
the bad in people, but we could choose to find the good in those people. We can
Right.
choose we can choose how we react, like friends and stuff. I did a post the other day about how friends disappoint you, and I wrote, well, shame on them, you know. I said, but we can choose how we react, and we could choose whether or not to let it affect us. We could choose to forgive them, or we can choose to move on. So I mean, if it's a continual thing, because there are some people that will say, you know, like friends, they don't want to invite you to the, you know, the party or whatever, but then they'll ask you, oh, by the way, can you pick up chips and you know, stuff,
Right.
dip,
Right.
and bring it over, even though I didn't invite you. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So there are some people that
Don't ever
are
do.
just like that, you know, because they're very self-centered and they don't see past themselves and what they're going through. But we can
Right.
choose not to be that way. But we do have to be selfish when it comes to self-care. And
Right. Right.
it's not selfish in the way that people think it is. It's kind of selfless, because the more you take care of yourself, the better you are for this world, your friendships, your relationships, your job, and everything else. So by taking care of you, and you also help your self-esteem, because
Right.
when you do esteemable things, your self-esteem grows. The more you
Right.
do those things and put in those actions, it is going to grow.
It's
So
so true. And you do have to be mindful of your friends. And sometimes some friends you can't talk to all the time. Some of us do have those gloom and doom friends. And you're just like, okay, well, today I'm not feeling my best. Or we probably can't talk today because you're not going to help me and I'm not going to help you. And that is totally fine. You know, take a break, step back in that way. And I think also tone matters. I love a lively tone, right? An upbeat tone. I know a lot of times we listen to audibles, the audible books. Just recently, somebody I know was listening to the Bible on audio, right? And you know, all right, boo. The Bible on audio. And the tone of the person was like gloom and doom, like death and dying. I was like, oh my God, I just can't hear this. This is just it. I
I
just
know.
it help. It doesn't help me at all. Whether it's the most lively scripture that God is going to give you all that you want and desire, if your tone is down, I'm not going, I'm not going to receive it that way. And so, be mindful of tones that you allow, mindful of music you listen to, what you see, watching TV, always watching the news. Just be mindful of how it makes you feel. And even though you may be conditioned to do it, if it's not positively impacting you, stop. Stop.
Yeah, but you have to, because if it's not supporting you, then it's working against you, and people don't see that. But it really is. Hi, cutie pie. You can say hello. It's okay. We're just doing a video. Hello, hello. That's close and personal.
I know
He's so cute. You gotta love kids. They
you
have
do.
no fear. They
They
have
don't.
no fear.
Stop.
So so when we talk about the short game, we talk about working on the now. And then when we look at the long term, we looking at the long term is really those assets that I'm talking about, like building that toolbox. And over time, and working on it and making it a lifestyle, you put more assets, more tools into that toolbox. And one day you wake up and you self-actualize and you look back at your life and you say, hey, that wasn't that bad. I did a really good job, you
Right.
know? But that's what we strive to do. We strive to be those people. And whether it's weight loss or job gratification or relationship, that you want a better relationship in your life, whatever you're looking for, you have to think of the short term. If you haven't met that perfect person that you want to share your life with, what can you do to work on yourself to make you more attractive to the person that you are looking for? So, um, if you want a better job, then what skills do you need? What do you see yourself doing that is going to fulfill you? And what skills do you need to do that? I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I came online, coming online is very different. I've been in healthcare almost 4 decades now. But being
Wow.
with someone at the bedside and helping them and reacting like that and doing your job is different than hundreds of thousands of people being online and trying to be seen. You know what I mean? So there was a short term and a long term game for that too. I'm still in that
Exactly.
process, because I don't want people to get that wrong information and think that there's a quick fix and stuff like that. So I'm letting people get to know me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get to know people need to get to know you. You need to get to know yourself, and then attract what is going to help you. And like you said, self care is not selfish. If you need to eliminate some things, it's not selfish. It's really taking care of yourself, appreciating who you are and what you need in your life.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that comes back to those friends too, because I had a few friends, Karen. I gotta tell you honestly, I had to let go because like they were those negative Nellies about everything. So every time I spoke to them, it was always a crisis. It was always poor me. It was always look how bad my life is and so sad and then so how are you doing, Andra? And when I'd go to respond, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go. Like they don't have time, so they spend the whole hour talking about themselves, and then at the end, oh, did you need to talk? Are you okay? And then they were gone. You know, so I don't need people like that in my life because you
Mm,
reflect that. I don't want to reflect that out to somebody else. So if
right,
those relationships aren't, they're not two-way and they're not giving you, something back, or supporting you in some way, then it's time to let them go, you know?
right. Absolutely, absolutely.
So
Well,
we're kind of like all over the map with relationships in life and stuff, but I know you got to get to work and I got to get to work too. So, if you could tell people about um, give one thing that you would do for the short term, if you could help these people that you think would help benefit them in any, no matter what goal they're trying to go at, and I'll do the long term.
yeah, one short term step that you can take is start journaling. Start writing down whether if you want to lose weight, the foods that you're eating daily, or a gratitude journal if you're looking to be more positive or grateful. Journaling, write it down every day, date it, get a little book. I have a little journal here, a little book. Every day you date it, you write down, I'm grateful for the sun, I'm grateful for the moon, the stars, I'm grateful for my husband, my kids. If it's gratitude, if it's food, it's like, well, this morning I woke up and I craved a brownie, or I ate a whole bowl of pasta, and then you'll be able to look back and see maybe like what you were feeling during that time, what was going on with you. You have a little track record because we don't always remember, but if you write it down, you can go back and review. So start a journal.
I love that. I also love that for long term too. But journaling is one of the most effective things you can do for anything you're working on. If you don't have what you want in your life, start journaling about this is for your long term. Start journaling about what you're doing and what you think is keeping you from that long term. What habits do you need to put in place? So if you want to be a runner, you have to start running. You don't just wake up one day and start running 10 miles. You have to take those steps. So if that's what you want to do, what are the steps that you have to put in place to get there? And then you start working those steps. And that journal is a reminder to you of what's important to you, what you're working on, and what you want to achieve. What, like Karen said, I love it for dieting because if you have to look at all the things you ate every day and look at what you're eating that isn't good for you, the chances are Or if you think that you have to show that journal to someone, or chances are you're going to be a little bit more proactive in your health. And long term, it helps you. But one of the best things that you can do long term is to sit down and do that inner work, and think about where you're at right now in your life, and where you want to be, and then how do you get there? What are those steps you have to take? Who do you need to support you? Are you around people to support you? What's stopping you from getting there? But do that inner work. And it's not about a pity party, or this, this one did this to me and that's why this happened. All of these experiences that we experience in our life are meant to bring us to where we are right now and next month and the year after, and develop us into who we're going to become, so that we can achieve the goal that we want in our life and who we want to be. So work on that. Do that inner work, because it starts on the inside. You can dress yourself up on the outside, but if the inside is hurting, it doesn't make a difference how you look on the outside. So work on that inside, because that's who you are and that's what matters. Hone into that heart, feel that heart center, and be who you're meant to be, because you deserve it.
I love it. Do the work. Don't be afraid. Happy mental
Yeah,
health. And nurses, go do something great for yourself. You deserve it.
yeah, I'm at work and I love my job, so that's great. So but next stop, massage. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So this has been Andra and Karen from Kitchen Chats. We're gonna zone out and do what we have to do. So I want to thank you for tuning in today for this week's sessions. And as always, if you like what you hear here, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Have a great week and take care of you. Take care, guys.
Bye.